Hey, everybody. Welcome to another great episode here of the Bailey Pod. Tonight, real quick before we get into the show, just some key reminders here. Make sure you go like, share, and then also to subscribe to the Bailey Pod. Also, to lastly, make sure you click the bell so you can be notified for all new content we'll be actually dropping throughout the week. Before we get into the actual meats and potatoes of the show, I just want to send a big congrats out to Hononegah High School football program for going 9-0 this season and winning the Nick 10 championship. So congrats, Hononegah Indians. Also, too, big congrats to the 5 schools in the Nick 10 that made the playoffs this year: Auburn, Boylan, Belvedere North, Harlem, and Hano. Congrats to all those teams and good luck the rest of the way. Before we get into the show, I'm just going to give you a little backstory on my next guest tonight. And this is a young man that has actually done everything that you, coach, would ask him to do, and some. And he actually accomplished a huge feat this weekend in becoming the all-time Nick 10 leading rusher. Yeah, huge feat. And he's been sensational for 4 years at the varsity level. He started playing varsity as a freshman over at East High School. And again, ladies and gentlemen, he's been nothing but sensational all year long. And, without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and bring our guest on tonight, Javius Catiln. How you doing, Javius?
Good. How about you?
Good, man. Good. Hey, thanks for joining the Bailey Pod.
Of course.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it. Hey, I know we got some things to actually talk about tonight, but one of the first things I want to talk about, really most importantly, is your academics. The other night on our show, The Overtime, that we do with Scott Leber and Reagan Holgate, and I mentioned that you were a 4.0 student your freshman year, and you went 3.6 your sophomore year. You had a 3.5 GPA your junior year, and you're currently sitting at 3.5. You are definitely the epitome of a student athlete, and congratulations on what you did in the classroom, also to what you've done on the field. But you are definitely, in my eyes and many, the epitome of a student athlete. Before we actually get into what we need to get into, Javius, speak to me a little bit about, how you were able to sustain such a great GPA all 4 years through high school.
So with high school, it's just really paying attention and just being present in class and like actually learning and taking the time out to like really ask questions and stuff like that. Like if you don't get a question, just take the time out. The teachers are there to help you, so why not use them?
So talk a little bit about, your study habits, what you did to be able to, again, to sustain such great academic excellence.
So really for like study wise, like probably like say for like a math test, we like throughout the week we have like little homework assignments to like try to get us warmed up to it. And then on like the test, usually like on a Friday, it'll be just like little questions to like the questions of the worksheet. So like you just need to know like what type of problem it is, and like know how to finish it. So it's really then she'll give us a study guide, and I'll come home, fill the study guide out, and then it's just really if you paying attention in class and actually doing the work and like turning in the homework assignments, you should do good on the test.
Speak to us a little bit about your study habits. You going home after practice. Obviously, the season's over with, but you'll be getting home probably a little bit earlier now. But you get home after practice. It's I'm assuming it's probably after 6 o'clock. You got to eat, you got to shower, you got to do those necessary things, and then you got to study. How long do you study per week?
Per week, probably like I think like every day I'll probably study like after school, probably like it depending on like if we got a big test coming, it'll probably be like 30 minutes to an hour. Sometimes if I just got like homework, really it'll be like only 30 minutes. But like if I got a big test coming up, it'll probably be like between 45 minutes and an hour.
Okay. And do you find that being enough time for you to be able to, again, sustain the level of academic excellence that you've been able to sustain over the last 4 years?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think some of your strengths are academically and your weaknesses?
Like subject wise, or just like
yes, subjects wise.
Well, I don't have math because we only required to have 3 years of math, but probably I like English. My English class, I just like it. And then my weaknesses probably like, I don't really too much like government for real.
Okay. So again, Javius, you've been able to sustain this just great achievement of academic excellence again for all 4 years. You know, who else do you credit that to? I mean, obviously, you get home, you have to, you got somebody in your ear at home telling you, Javius, get your homework done. Javius, get your books
Right.
out. Or is it not that way? Or are you that self-motivated individual to where mom and dad don't have to tell you to get the books out?
Probably
Speak to that.
like now, like probably like my I think senior year, I really been on it like by myself because like sometimes I come home and I won't even have homework because I just like because I got free periods because since I'm a senior I don't have all my classes, so it's like I got eighth hour off, so it's like I go in the cafeteria and sometimes I just work on all my work and I'll come home and won't even have homework, but it's really so much. Really, I've really been on it my junior and my senior year, but
What
that's really my parents really don't gotta too much worry about homework with me.
motivates you?
Yeah.
Sure. So, what would you tell other young athletes out there that may be listening tonight to the Bailey Pod, that may be struggling academically? What type of advice can you give them tonight?
Advice I give them is just you gotta pay attention in the classroom, and if you can't get it for some reason, like if you still having a hard time with it, just ask questions. I got a really smart brother, so if I don't know like if I need help, I'll be fast to call my brother because my brother he real smart. He been through all the high school. He in college. He about to be done with college and stuff. And it's just like I got somebody I could rely on. I could just call my brother, and he real smart. You cutting out? I can't hear you. I still can't hear you.
Sorry about that. Yep, we're back. Sorry about that. Yeah, we had a little technical difficulty. My question was to you. We're going to go ahead and pivot. We're going to talk about now just a little bit about you're not your academic achievements, but your athletic achievements. You actually were able to establish a big feat the other day, surpassing Brenton Shaw of Harlem with 3,619 yards to become the Nick 10 all-time leading rusher. I mean, I've always known, since you were a freshman, you were going to be able to do something special. Is that something that you've always really known deep in your heart that, if I stay the course, get my books done, train, do everything I'm supposed to do, listen to mom and dad. Did you ever think this day would come to where now you're the all-time leading rusher, man. You're
Right.
called the books. Go ahead.
Not so much the leading Nick 10 rusher because when I was a freshman, I really didn't even know this was a record. But like going on so far, like junior, senior year, yeah, I was thinking about it. But when I was a freshman, I ain't really know too much about records and stuff like that. I just wanted to play football.
So how do you feel? I mean, I was at the game. You had a great game. You were stellar throughout the game. You went down with an injury, I believe, in the first half. Came back second half, finished strong. Many would call that, and myself would call that a very heroic moment that we saw out there on the field. Explain to the actual viewers what actually happened to the ankle.
So I think it was one of my like I think it was the second touchdown I had scored, but he had tackled me in the end zone and he had like grabbed my jersey and my ankle and like I had failed and he stood up with my ankle and my ankle like just turned real weird and I had like walked it off and stuff. And then it was like a couple plays, it was like a couple of plays after I was running the ball and I went to go cut. And I don't know if it was supposed to tape because I had taped my ankle because the first time he had kind of messed up. I had went to go cut. I put my foot in the ground and it just popped. And my ankle just gave out when I fell. And then somebody had fell on top of me. And then I got up, I jumped up, and I went right up to Wilson. And I had told him my ankle pop. And then we had double taped it. We had did all type of stuff.
Again, you know, definitely a heroic moment in history, particularly the Nick 10 with your accomplishment from on Saturday. But most players, Javius, probably would have just sat out the rest of the game. What kept you motivated? Was it the record? Was it you wanted to get the W? You wanted to go out on a high note your senior year at
Right.
home? Speak to that.
It was a little bit of everything because I knew it was my last senior game. It was my last senior game. I only needed 53 yards. And I really just wanted to go out there and just secure the win on our last game because I wouldn't want to go out with my last senior game as a lose. It really was just a combination of all three of them. And I only needed 53 yards.
So again, what kept you motivated? I mean, who were you thinking about? Was it something kept you in that game? Because I'm looking at you from the sideline. I mean, you were limping over there on that sideline, and I'm scratching my head on the sideline. I'm like, okay, can he finish?
Right.
Is he not going to get the record? Is he not because you couldn't play per se,
Right.
but you were injured? I mean,
Right.
what drove you? What was your motivation?
I'm gonna keep it real. It was that
Keep
53
it
on the scoreboard. It was I just kept on looking at it like only needed 53 yards, and 53 yards is not a lot. So it's like I just kept on looking up, and I just told them wrap my ankle. I had took my sock off there, wrapped my ankle. Then they wrapped over my cleats, so then I couldn't really like bend it for real, and I couldn't really feel it. And then I just went back out there.
It was epic, man. It was epic. Again, big congrats. But I'm gonna step back here. I'm gonna ask you a few questions about leading up to the actual night of the game, before the game. What was that Friday night like for you? Was it sleepless rest? Was it a sound sleep? Or did you really toss and turn every hour on the hour? Share that with us.
That Friday night, I always try to get like a lot of rest before my games because I know I got a big road to fill and I know I'm gonna get the ball a lot. So I really just me laying down in my bed, drinking water, just really chilling, watching Netflix, just really just trying to get rest for the game.
Right. And then obviously, the bus trip over to the stadium. What was that like? Walk me through that.
So when we got on the bus, I really like I don't really get nervous on the bus too much. Like I used to, like my freshman and sophomore year, I used to kind of get nervous on the bus, but like my senior year, I wasn't really getting nervous on the bus. I was just getting ready, just getting my mind ready, just ready for what I had to do. I didn't really want to think too much of it, so I just really just kind of was trying to just sit there, be cool, get ready, throw my shoulder pads on, throw my cleats on.
What was the warm up like? Take me through these steps to the kickoff. Take me through these moments.
Really, it really was just I didn't want to overthink it too much because I know it was real big. Like, and it was a lot more people out there on the sidelines than what it usually was. I really just wasn't trying to overthink it too much, getting my hair really too much, just so it really wouldn't throw me off.
And after it all happened, what was that moment like? Again, you were in some excruciating pain. It looked like from the sideline.
Yeah.
I know there was a timeout called, I think, at the game the other day, and I think Coach Griff had come out to the field, got the ball from the ref, and gave it to you, and your teammates rallied around you and lifted your hand up. What was that moment like to you? Because again, not too many can experience something that you've actually been able to experience.
It meant a lot to me I just did it. Like I didn't have to stress about anything else for real. I just knew that I could go rest with the game. I was with my team. They was all congratulating me. It really meant a lot.
There's any time that we're successful, no matter how old we are or where we are, and we have success, there's always people that actually are part of that success.
Right.
Who do you attribute a lot of your success to?
Most definitely my O-line, because that second half, I couldn't cut. I could barely really put pressure on the front of my foot. So it's like I just had to find my O-line, and I had to trust that they was gonna get their blocks, and that's all I did. I ain't gonna lie. The second half, all I did was get the ball, and I ran. I grabbed my lineman, and I just ran with him. I couldn't even run for real. I was really running flat-footed, because every time I put pressure on the front of my foot, it just hurt. I just found my lineman, and they just did all the blocking for me, and I was just running right behind them.
So you were just running with pure determination.
Yes.
You willed yourself to that record. Is that what I hear you saying?
Yeah, most definitely.
Along with your offensive line, you guys willed yourself.
Yeah.
And your offense, I'm pretty sure your offensive linemen were really wanting to get you that record because the time that you have spent with them and the brotherhood that you guys have been able to establish over the years. Speak to a little bit about what some of the linemen have said to you. Since you actually were able to eclipse the late all-time leading rusher.
They'll just see me in the hallway and they'll just try to be funny. Oh, Nick 10 leading rusher. Oh, they just try to be funny and just try to like joke with me and stuff like that.
How has again, I'm going to stay on success here because, again, I know there's more people in your life that have actually influenced you, directed you, and encouraged you to be at your best at all times in the classroom, away from school, on the field, etc. It has what speak to me about what type of role mom and dad have played these last 4 years.
Mom and dad, they always been a big role for me. Even when I was a kid, it's just who I look up to. Like, especially with my dad, knowing he played football and he was real good at it, it just made me just feel that role and just know that I just wanna be as good as him. They were real big though. They real big for me on support wise. Everything, they was always there for me, especially my mom. She always there. She always there whenever I need to talk about stuff, grade, like school, all type of stuff.
Sure, man. I mean, that support system it's huge, and again, that was probably one of the motivating factors for you this year was to go out and not just play for Javius Catiln, but play
Right.
for the Catlin family,
Most
and your
definitely.
mom, and also too, playing for ERAP Nation, so to speak. You've been nothing but sensational. I tell you this all the time. You've been nothing but sensational these last 4 years, and you're definitely arguably one of the best runners that I've seen in the last decade that have actually graced the Nick 10 on that gridiron. Javius, talk to me a little bit about, your freshman year, your sophomore year, your junior year. I believe your freshman year rushing, I think you had 423 yards rushing. You only played in 6 games. Walk me through that freshman year here real quick.
My freshman year, it was real new. Like, it was just a new team, new plays. I was kind of real iffy. And then even I think it was our first game, the Boiler game. I had played JV, so I never played varsity. But I think it was it was the Guilford game. Yeah, it was the Guilford game. Griff had called my number, and I got in, and I was real nervous because I was 15. I was real nervous, just like playing on varsity for my first time. You know how it is. You just be real nervous. You be real iffy. Oh, what if I do this? What if I do that? And I think it was big 38 toss, and they pitched me the ball, and I scored. And they was all just yelling, "Oh, he's a freshman." They was just all happy, and it was just meant a lot. Then I ain't gonna lie, it was the same play. They did the same play, and I scored again. And then it's just
Was that
from there.
Javius? Do you think that moment there? I think you went 95 yards on that play, if I'm not mistaken. Do you think that was the actual precursor to what we witnessed today?
Yeah.
I mean, you look at what you've done your freshman year. You had good productivity. You go back your sophomore year. Let's go ahead and go to your sophomore year. Sophomore year, you go 1103 rushing. Junior year, obviously with the injury you had, you missed 3 games. You go 700 yards. I believe if you played the entire season, you would have went over 1,000 again, hands down. No one can argue that, due to your productivity in the prior years. And then this year you become the all-time Nick 10 leading rusher. I mean, you got to look back at your freshman year and say, wow, okay, this was the precursor. I mean, speak to that a little bit.
Most definitely, because it's just like when I first had got on the field and I had did that, I just knew from there on out, if I'm doing that my freshman year, I know the next 3 years is going to be great. Because it's like, if you doing that when you freshmen, you come in at like 15, 14, and all I'm going to do is get, like, I know all I'm going to do during the summer is work out and get faster.
Sure. And you did. You paid your dues. Speak to that a little bit. There's some other things that you've done on the outside of Friday night football that have allowed you to, again, accomplish this huge feat that you've been able to go out and attain last Saturday. What are some of the things that you've done on the outside to better prepare your body, your mind, etc.?
Really, with me, I just like I gotta rest. I really like the day before, like a couple days before a game, I really just like to calm it down, rest, make sure I just drink a lot of water so I don't cramp. And I just know with all the stuff I've been doing on off season and stuff like that, that I know that when the game time comes.
Speak to that a little bit. Talk about your off season regime to the viewers here real quick. What are some of the things, share with some of the viewers, how you prepared? What was your preparation like these last 4 years? You don't have to speak to all of it, but just highlight some of your preparation.
Really, my preparation was just really, because I had got with you my senior year. But like other than that, I really just take working out and I just work out by myself, stuff like that. Just like do little stuff in the weight room. I just really go in there. I go in there with like a group, a couple other people. It'd be like me, Chris Tolliver, and a couple other linemen, and we'll just work out, and then we'll probably go get like cardio in and stuff like that.
I'm gonna pause you real quick because you just said something. You just alluded to something. You said you got with me for training your senior year. You know you're wrong, right?
Like you
I
said,
actually met you. Griff brought you guys over as a
yeah, we
group.
been met,
I
but it's
met
like,
you. I met you as
yeah,
a freshman, and we
yeah,
did some training prior to. But we spent more time this past summer. Is that what you're
right,
saying?
yeah, yeah,
Right. Yep. Yep. We spent more time this past summer. Really getting you to where you need to get to.
right.
And getting ready for the gridiron season in 2023 as you just completed. So, Javius, talk a little bit about what's next for you. I know there's some colleges out there that are looking at you. There's probably going to be more universities contacting you here in the next 3 to 4 weeks as coaches get back out on the recruiting trails. What are some of the things that you want to do in terms of next level? Obviously you qualify academically, obviously you're going to qualify also too athletically. What are you thinking now for the next level?
Next level, I just really I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna take like probably like 3 weeks, 2 weeks off, a little break just to let my body recover and stuff. And I really just want to get back to working out. Like I just want to get bigger and stronger. I still do. Even with the season be over, I know college is gonna be a lot. And it's like I just know it's gonna be way different from high school. And I just want to be as much prepared as I can.
How elated are you about having an opportunity to play at the next level and becoming a scholarship kids? Because again, not every kid in the country is blessed with the gifts that you've been blessed with in the classroom, and then also too what you do out there in the field. How excited are you about the opportunity coming up to be able to again progress to that next level?
Like, it's real exciting to me. I just wanna go to college and just really like show them what I can do. Because when you go to college, it's like don't nobody really know you for real. It's real new. Like, and you gotta really show them what you could do. So it's like I feel like with me getting back working out and stuff like that, I really feel like once I go to college, I could really show them like the real me.
Sure. Javius, I'm going to pivot here. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about, you've again the accomplishment that you've actually established last week by becoming the Nick 10 all-time leading rusher, and you now also too this year you've accomplished two feats: the Nick 10 all-time leading rusher last Saturday, and I believe 3 weeks ago you became East High all-time leading rusher. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And you probably don't know this, but I'm gonna just go through a list here that I have. And then now you're in the company now of some really really good solid running backs that ever come through East High School. And also too to probably ever play in the actual conference. The guys from the '70s, Joe Black, Russell Pope, Ira Matthews, some guys from the '80s, John Brown, who in my estimation was probably, arguably, the best running back ever to grace the Nick 10. Again, my opinion. Terry Bell from the '80s, in the '90s, Marcus Howard, aka Tanani, also too from the '90s, Dr. Hansen, really good, solid player. Terry Keith, aka Bobo, Nigel Perryman, in the '90s, and in 2000s, young man I remember very vividly is Chris Appleton, and then now you. I mean, you've never had a chance to see these men play that I just mentioned, but you fit right in that category when people start talking about who are some of the best backs that ever come out of East High School. Speak to that. Tell me how you feel about it and what does it mean to you?
Uh, it really like it's just like makes me feel accomplished because it's like me getting put in with those names as you describe them, you describe them like they're the best. So it's like it just really means a lot for me to just be
I don't I don't
put in a
I don't think
category
any
with
I don't
them.
think any I don't hold on. I don't think anybody would argue with this list of names. I don't think many would argue.
Right.
If people argue with me about this list, then you better run and turn the other way. But anyway, go ahead.
Right. But it just means a lot to me just being able to get put up there in that list with them. It means a lot. It just goes to show how much work I put in.
And again, man, these backs that I just mentioned, I mean, some East Side greats, some really East Side greats. And when people, in 10 or 15, 20, 30 years from now, 40, 50 years from now, your name's going to be mentioned with these great group of guys that I just mentioned. And that's huge. I mean, you're also too going to be mentioned as probably one of the best runners in Nick 10 history. I mean, speak to that. How does that make you feel? I mean, you're going to be that was an indelible moment for you last Saturday. And, many people saw it. Many people weren't able to attend the game, but I'm pretty sure some saw it online and thought that, wow, this young man did it. He just accomplished a feat that many dream of accomplishing. Right. You've been able to do it, and now you become not just a name mentioned in those greats running backs that I just mentioned from East. Now you're actually in that conversation also too. When people get around, as we do as men, we get together and we talk and we go back and forth. Who's the best runner? Who was the best kick returner? Who was the best receiver? Who was the best running back, etc. Now your name's going to be mentioned in that core group of running backs. How does that feel?
I really like me. It feels good because
have you had a chance? Have you had a chance to process all of this, or are you still processing it?
I'm still kind of processing it. Okay. I ain't really processed it for real yet.
Okay. Well, again, man, you've been nothing but sensational. And again, like I said earlier in the show, you're definitely the epitome of a student athlete, carrying the type of GPA that you've been carrying. Javius, again, man, keep shining, keep doing what you're doing. Stay humble, stay hungry, keep your eye on the prize, and good things will happen for you, man, and doors will open. Last before I go, is there anything that you want to share with your teammates that may be watching the show tonight?
I appreciate all my linemen for helping me get that record because I couldn't have did it without them, especially them last couple quarters. Not just really the whole season. The whole season I didn't need them, but that last Jefferson game, I really needed them, and they really stepped up, and I appreciate them a lot for that. And just the whole team just knowing how our practice is and how much work we put in, I appreciate our whole team and our coaching staffs. I appreciate Griff, all of them.
Well, Javius, hey, man, you've been nothing but stand up the last 4 years. The time that I've been knowing you the last 4 or 5 years. You've been nothing but stand up. Again, man, hey, I'm glad you came on the show tonight. I'm glad to have you. I'm pretty sure I'll have you on again once you figure out what school you're going to be actually attending. To get your academics and then also to play the game that you love to play. Javius, hey, man, I'm going to get going. And again, man, thanks for joining the Bailey Pod tonight.
Of course, thanks for having me on, Tim.
Javius Catiln, everyone.